if you've been monitoring yung mga high flyers or mga stocks na grabe yung ginalaw since last month, lalo na nung around second week ng March, imposibleng hindi nyo na-notice yung DHI or Dominion Holdings. So for nearly a month now, yung DHI is already up by more than 40%. So for the past 3 to 4 weeks, no, grabe yung ginalaw ng stock na to. And if you're able to read certain articles sa mga finance na news, somehow you already have an idea kung bakit ganito yung nangyayari sa DHI, no? Lalo na at may mga napapag-usapan na mga big players at mga malalaking companies. But of course, kung bago ka pa lang sa mundo ng stock market and bago sa'yo yung mga bagay na ganito, so I'm sure you're curious, no? Why is this happening? Kung bakit nangyayari yung ganitong mga bagay-bagay sa stocks. So if you're curious kung bakit naging ganito yung DHI, so you've found the right video because in this video, I'll be talking about 4 things, no, in particular. So the first part of this video is going to talk about the backstory ng DHI. And then, I'm going to talk about yung bagong board members nila, kung ano yung significance ng mga executives or mga directors na pinasok nila. The third part of this video will talk about why the stock price increased drastically. So, I'll try to explain yung speculative nature ng stock at yung fundamentals niya, kung bakit nagkakaroon ng ganitong price movement. And of course, since most of you guys probably are considering if okay pa ba yung DHI or you already have a position sa DHI and you don't know kung ano yung mga risks at mga negatives niya, I'll be talking about that sa latter part ng video na to. So just a quick disclaimer lang, the analysis and opinions discussed in this video is for educational purposes only and should not be considered as financial or investment advice. Trading and investing both have risks, which means it could lead to potential losses. So make sure that you do your own research and due diligence before making personal financial decisions. And aside from the disclaimer, just a personal disclosure, meron akong position sa DHI, which is already up by more than 40% as of the closing prices, no, this past week. So I just want to talk about that, no, para alam nyo rin kung saan ako nanggagaling at yung perspective ko in terms of DHI. So for the backstory, yung DHI, no, it was previously known as BLFI, which is the BDO Leasing and Finance Incorporated. It's a subsidiary of BDO and it's now an investment and holding company. So under sa name niya, no, nakalagay leasing and finance. So yung purpose ng company na to before is to provide financing or nagpapautang siya at nagpapalease siya sa mga different companies. But from the start of 2026, things about the company changed. So, this brings us to the DHI timeline, no? So, nung January 20, so second week, third week ng January, dito nagsimulang magkaroon ng news or hype with regards sa DHI. Specifically, itong disclosure nila, which talks about selling to Montesor. So, nakalagay dito that DHI received advice from BDO. So, subsidiary kasi sila ng BDO. So, BDO yung parent company in this case, na kung saan binibenta yung 70% ng DHI sa Montesor Equity Holdings. So, ano ba yung Montesor? It's a company that holds interests in companies that operate mining projects. So, it's a Philippine incorporated holding company that invests in various securities. Pero yung focus nila daw is mining projects. So, of course, dahil sa mataas at malaking run-up ng mga mining companies sa Philippines, of course, may mga market participants na ma-hype dyan, no, with regards to the increasing commodity prices. So, January 20, ayan yung disclosure about Montesor. And then, from January 20 to January 22, naglabas yung DHI ng disclosure na they would want a trading suspension, so voluntary. And ang purpose is to give yung investing public, yung stock market participants, equal access in considering itong kakalabas lang na information na to. So, kumbaga binibigyan nila yung public ng time to digest yung mga nangyaring disclosures, yung mga news. Nung na-lift na yung suspension, no, as you can see dito sa chart, yung price ng DHI below 150 lang nung January 20. Tapos nung January 23 na, nung na-lift na yung suspension, open na yung stock na to. So, nag-gap up siya tapos pumunta ng 50%. So, lumagpas na siya ng 1.80, 1.90 prices. I think 2.10 yung napuntahan niyang price nung period na yan. So, yan yung first ceiling niya. So, take note, unang 50% run up. And then, wala masyadong nangyari nung whole month of February na kung saan nagkakaroon ng uncertainty with regards to DHI, no? Tapos nung second week ng March 17, napakita sa isang disclosure na papalitan nga daw yung mga directors ng DHI. And as you can see sa disclosure, ayan yung mga previous na directors tapos sa baba yung na-approved na mga bagong directors ng DHI. So for some of you guys, I'm sure familiar yung mga ibang names dyan, no? So when this was announced nung second week ng March, nag-increase ulit yung stock price ng DHI and it was able to jump another 50%. So this time, ito yung pangalawang ceiling ng stock. And then nung last week ng March, no, March 30, it was formally announced na si Mr. Isidro Consunji becomes the new chairman of the board ng DHI. So that's the entire timeline of DHI for this 2026 at yung mga significant news or disclosure na lumabas during this period. Regarding sa new board members ng DHI, yung pinakita ko na screenshot ng disclosure, meron ditong dalawang pangalan na pwedeng familiar na kayo if you already have a significant exposure sa stock market. But I think kahit beginner pa lang kayo, you already know these names, no? Sa apelido pa lang. So, una muna, Henry C. Jr. So, kilala naman natin kung sino si Henry C. Sr. So, Henry C. Jr., isa sa mga anak ni Henry C. And yung kanyang net worth, no? Nasa around $2.4 billion. So, isa sa top billionaires sa Philippines. So, he is a co-vice chairman ng SM Investments. So, stock code SM, no, SMIC. Also serves as chairman of SM Prime, so SMPH. So, alam naman natin na isa siya sa mga importanteng tao when it comes to the SM group. And the second name na significant pagdating dito sa DHI na board is si Mr. Isidro Consunji. So, the entire portfolio ng Consunji family estimated around $3.7 billion. So, of course, their wealth stems from DMCI Holdings and different subsidiaries ng DMC. To name a few, andyan yung Cemex, andyan yung Semirara Mining and Power or SCC, DMCI Construction o DMCI Homes, a portfolio that spans different industries sa Philippines. So, the question is, ano ba yung significance ng dalawang tao na to with them being a part of the DHI board? So, let's first cover SM Investments Corporation, no? Stock code SM. So, under SMIC, of course, andyan yung BDO, which is the largest bank sa Philippines. Another bank na meron silang exposure sa portfolio nila is China Bank, no? Definitely pasok sa top 10 ng bank sa Philippines. So, To Go Group, Logistics, and of course, SMPH or SM Prime Holdings, which handles, of course, yung real estate arm ng SM Group. Pagdating naman sa DMCI Holdings Incorporated, so stock code DMC, meron silang significant na equity sa Maynilad, so DMCI Construction, DMCI Homes, Semirara Mining and Power Corporation, and of course, these two holding companies, SM, tapos DMCI, sobrang dami pa nilang companies under them. Pinangalanan ko lang yung kilala at yung laging napapag-usapan, no, sa mundo ng stock market. So, these two directors, no, itong mga tao na to, combined around $6 billion in net worth, and ito sila pa lang, no, hindi pa kasama yung buong holding or conglomerates nila. Significant to kasi these players are some of the biggest names sa different sectors and industries sa Philippines. So, imposibleng sobrang liit or mini project lang yung gagawin nila kasi why would they allot resources, no? Or join yung expertise nila, yung mga resources nila sa bagong company na to kung wala silang gagawin na malaking project at isang project na magiging fruitful, no, sa specific na industry na gusto nilang pasukin. And bakit nila paglalaroan tong stock na to when their entire reputation is on the line? At bakit sila gagawa ng mga maliit na project kung ang entire net worth nila, 'di ba, is above 300 no 400 billion pesos. So siguro naman kung ang net worth nila is above 300 billion pesos, hindi sila gagawa ng project na under 1 billion, 'di ba? So most likely it's a huge or big project. Ang kailangan lang of course i-clarify is ano yung mga projects na yon. Which brings me to the third segment of this video, explaining why the stock price has been increasing. But before I talk about the catalysts for DHI, so kung bago ka pa lang sa channel na to, madalas akong gumagawa ng mga videos na explaining trending topics sa Philippine stock market, explainer videos or commentary videos like this, explaining the tender offer, delisting of RHI, another video example yung about sa Middle East conflict, PSEI rebalancing, and yung nangyaring pag-deny ng contract sa SEC. So, if you want to be updated sa mga trending topics when it comes to the Philippine stock market, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel para maabangan nyo yung mga videos na yan in the future. So, going back to the discussion, yung DHI is up ng more than 40% sa loob ng isang buwan. And isa sa mga catalyst nga talaga niyan is yung Montesor Holdings, kung saan meron silang interest sa mga companies related sa mining projects. So, yung speculation is that since Montesor has interests in mining projects, so the assumption is mining assets, no, yung ilalagay or i-infuse sa DHI. So, syempre, ano ba yung mga mining assets na yon? So, kanina napag-usapan natin yung two prominent na players pagdating dito sa DHI, no? Hindi lang sa DHI but sa buong industry ng Philippines. So, I guess it's logical to think muna, ano ba yung mga stocks na kung saan may collaborative effort sila na related sa mining? So, madali lang naman yun hanapin, no? Just reading a few disclosures, reading a few articles, makikita natin na yung company na yon is AT or Atlas Mining. So, here's a screenshot from their website. One of Asia's largest copper producer and is the main producer of copper dito sa Philippines. So, kung makikita nyo dito sa board of directors, no, isang director is si Mr. Isidro Consunji. So, director siya ng Atlas Mining. If we're going to look sa equity percentage ng AT, makikita natin dito na more than 30% sa SM Group, no? SMIC, so SM Investments Corporation and BDO. So, meron din article na lumabas, no? Mga iba't ibang article na kung saan sinabi ng SM that they're planning to exit mining daw. So, gusto ng SMIC na i-dispose yung stake nila sa Atlas kasi wala daw synergy sa portfolio mismo ng SM Group yung AT or Atlas Mining. So, the question is it possible, no, that AT will be sold to DHI? So, yung share ng SMIC, instead of holding it under sa portfolio group nila, ibibenta nila. Tapos, ang bibili is DHI. So, ibig sabihin, mapupunta yung mining assets na yon sa DHI. So, another question, ano pa ba yung mining assets na kung saan the C and Consunji family both have interest in? So, isa sa matunog na mining project with regards to DHI is yung Tampakan na mine. And the reason for that is because sobrang tagal na nitong Tampakan na dinedevelop at nagkakaroon ng mga kung ano-anong speculation at hype behind it. Because as you can see from this screenshot, makikita mo yung numbers, yung tons of resources ng Tampakan which focuses on copper and then gold, no? Na kung saan sinasabi nga dito na halos 2 decades daw na ayan yung possible na reserves at maproduce na copper at gold ng Tampakan. So, syempre, itong mga numbers na to, okay, may nakikita tayo dyan na billion, millions. But, of course, without the proper context and without proper comparison, hindi natin magigets masyado kung ano yung significance niyan. So, I was able to do some research and tiningnan ko yung annual production ng different copper mines, no, globally. So, makikita natin dito yung iba't ibang mines sa iba't ibang countries na nag-ooperate na. So, in the event na yung Tampakan mine is able to fully operate, yung projected nila na mabibigay na contribution sa global copper annual production is nasa around 375 kilotons, which makes them part of the top 10 biggest producers of copper. So, sino ba yung nagmamay-ari ng Tampakan mine? So, the mine is operated by Sagittarius Mines Incorporated. And dito, sa nakikita nating article, the Tampakan Mining Project is operated by Sagittarius Mines, now controlled by SM Group's C family. And other important shareholders include the Consunhis of DMCI. So, it's very clear na bukod sa 80, meron pa silang significant interest parehas dito sa Tampakan. So, why has the stock price been increasing? Market participants kasi are speculating na itong Tampakan, yung Tampakan mine, will be infused sa DHI. So, ibig sabihin, yung projected na top 10 mine sa buong mundo mapupunta sa DHI. So, kanina, nasabi ko sa disclosure na meron akong position sa DHI which is already up by 43.44%. So, I've been talking about this stock since first week, second week, March pa lang sa private community and group. So, this was already part of my watch list sa portfolio. So, I talked about DHI along with other stocks sa mga exclusive videos na nasi-share ko lang sa private group and community. So if you want to stay updated regarding DHI and learn how I was able to plan for this trade and how I'm going to manage this trade, you should consider joining yung private membership group. And ito yung mga benefits niyan, depende kung anong group yung ma-decide nyong salihan. So, all you have to do is send an email sa nakikita nyo sa screen and just input yung subject as membership and then just answer these questions below. So, ano ba yung mga risks and negative catalysts pagdating dito sa DHI? Since we've already talked about the positives, the speculative nature of the stock, of course, kailangan natin malaman kung ano yung potential downside or reasons na magkakaroon ng contributing factor sa pagbaba ng DHI. So, una sa lahat, this stock is very speculative, okay? So, wala pa kasing official announcement na Tampakan talaga will be infused sa DHI. So, sa ngayon, usap-usapan pa lang tapos rumors, 'di ba? Kasi nga, dahil sa mga na-mention kong mga topics kanina, it looks like we're leading towards that path na kung saan yung Tampakan ay mapupunta sa DHI dahil yung mga taong involved sa Tampakan mine, sila din yung involved dito sa DHI. So, although it's highly possible na ayun talaga yung mangyari, syempre, hindi natin 100% sure. So, na-mention ko nga kanina, yung 80 or Atlas Mining is part of the SM Group and isa sa mga directors nun is si Mr. Isidro Consunhi. So, hindi natin alam, baka 80 lang yung mailagay or baka nga hindi rin 80 yung ilagay doon. So, of course, kung fina-factor in ng mga traders, ng mga investors na Tampakan yung ilalagay, tapos ang mangyari is 80 pala yung ma-infuse doon or hindi 80 at much smaller na mine na asset, then of course, pwedeng humila pababa ng price yon kasi hindi na-meet yung expectations for the asset infusion ng kino-consider ng stock market participants na valuable na asset. Pangalawa, yung regulatory hurdles. So, pwede kasi na it's of the interest ng national na kung saan marami tayong makukuhang tax revenues, maraming contribution pagdating sa economy ng Philippines pag na-unlock yung Tampakan mine. But of course, syempre, pwede magkaroon ng mga issue dyan pagdating sa local kasi its effect on the environment, 'di ba? Pwedeng mag-cause ng mga landslide, pwedeng mag-cause ng mga flooding, pwedeng maka-effect sa wildlife, sa mga ecosystems, sa mga taong malapit sa lugar na yon. So, syempre, maraming mga kailangan masettle dyan na mga permits, environmental permits, mga regulation na dapat pagdaanan. So, in the event na tampakan nga talaga yung mapupunta sa DHI, hindi pa rin naman ibig sabihin nun na ma-approve agad siya 100% ng government, diba? Kasi may mga politics at social issues na involved. So, pangatlong risk or negative catalyst, syempre yung execution problem. So, although meron ng expertise yung group na to pagdating sa mining, kasi meron naman silang significant exposure sa Atlas Mine, and yung DMCI naman, may subsidiary sila na mining talaga. Aside sa AT, which is yung SEC nga, diba? Coal mining, tapos may nickel din sila. Pero syempre, iba naman yung project ng Tampakan. So, isipin nyo, nasa top 10 na mine siya pag nagkaroon na ng operations. So, the question is, kaya ba nilang ma-execute yung vision na yon na ma-produce yung ganong level ng copper at gold na sila lang? So, ibig sabihin ba nun, let's say, yung Tampakan mapunta nga sa DHI tapos hindi na magkaroon ng issues pagdating sa government, hindi naman ibig sabihin nun na 100% magagawa na nila ng maayos yung pag-operate ng mine na yun, di ba? May mga execution problems, hindi natin alam. Pwedeng may issues sa mine mismo, no? Pwedeng hindi ganun ka-advanced yung technology, pwedeng magkaroon ng issues pagdating sa construction ng mine. So, execution risk, no, for number 3. So, yung technical capability para magawa yung output or yung production na yun. So, pang-apat, yung asset for share swap. So, remember, yung DHI ngayon is somehow considered as a shell company. So, in order for different assets, no, certain assets to be part of DHI, pwedeng may mangyaring asset for share swap na kung saan mag-i-issue ng shares yung DHI, no, kapalit ng mga assets na to. So, of course, that will probably mean dilution for shareholders. And pag nagkakaroon ng mga ganito, no, depende kung saang price point mag-meet yung assets na yon, pwedeng mahila yung price papunta sa level na yon. So, kung medyo matagal na kayo sa stock market, hindi na bago sa inyo yung usapin ng asset infusion. Kung mahilig kayong mag-trade or mag-invest sa mga REITs, nakikita nyo naman yan, di ba? Na pag nagkakaroon ng asset infusion sa MREIT, sa RCR, grabe yung binababa ng price, di ba? Kahit pa may mga magagandang catalyst dyan. So, syempre, hindi exempted yung DHI sa mga ganong galaw. So, nakadepende pa kung anong price point mangyayari yung infusion na yon. So, it's a negative catalyst in the sense kasi syempre pwede niyang mahila yung price pababa. So, again, number 1, wala pang official announcement na Tampakan talaga. Pangalawa, yung regulation. So, government regulation. Third, execution issue, technical capabilities. And the fourth one, yung asset for share swap na pwedeng magpa-decrease ng price ng grabe. So, in conclusion, just a few lessons and realizations. Speculative plays are high risk. So, although grabe na yung tinaas ng stock, always remember pagdating sa stock market, mas grabe at mas mabilis yung pagbaba ng stocks, lalo na pag nagkaroon ng mga bad news or mga negative na disclosures. And anytime, no, pwedeng magkaroon ng bentahan as market participants, whether traders or investors, sell their shares for reasons na pwedeng alam natin or hindi natin alam, which can create a domino effect para talagang mahila yung price pababa. So, never trade or invest sa mga ganitong stocks without proper risk management. Kasi pag nag-drop yan ng 20, 30%, no, even 40%, even 50% or more than in a span of a few days or weeks, sobrang hirap ng makabawi ng mga stocks na nagda-drop ng ganun. So, kung walang proper risk management, siguradong maiipit, no? Tapos, grabe yung magiging potential losses. Also, without proper trade management, you won't be able to maximize those gains because pwedeng mapabenta ka ng maaga to lock in those profits, or pwedeng hindi mo mabenta at the proper selling areas na marami ka na sanang gains, no? Tapos mawawala pa yung gains na yon because iniisip mo na tataas pa yung stock, tapos ayun na pala yung signal na nagkakaroon na pala ng selling. So, instead of having double-digit gains, no, near bagger gains, ang ending, magiging single-digit gains na lang or worse, break-even or losses pa nga. So, how about you guys, no? What do you think about DHI? Ano sa tingin niyo yung speculation pa na pwedeng mangyari or mga bagay na hindi ko na-mention sa video na to? So, let me know in the comment section kung ano yung tingin nyo na pwede pang mangyari sa DHI. So, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you found value and learned a lot sa video na to. So, ayun lang, and stay tuned for more comprehensive videos about the Philippine stock market.